Hello there. This country is dangerously riven, and our hopeless politicians can't see the answer because they all caused it. This country is slowly becoming ungovernable, at least from the Westminster perspective for now. But by the time demographics has completed its work in the coming decades, Westminster will be an irrelevance, as will Holyrood, the Senedd and Stormont. Unless we get a grip by voting in the right politicians who can see what the real problem is, then we are doomed to be controlled by a power from without. And you all know to what I refer. But right now our politicians are bleating amongst themselves, trying to garner our votes by saying to us that they will continue down exactly the same path they've been following for decades, but the outcome will somehow be different. It will not. There is a slow revolution occurring in the UK, and we are already seeing that the majority ethnicity is on the losing side. And it's no good complaining about it if we are not prepared to reverse our demographic decline. Right now, the Home Secretary, Suella Braverman, is having a go at the police force, saying that it must be even-handed with protests and not treat those on the left wing favourably. And writing in the Times, she says that the current pro-Palestine marches have gone beyond mere protest and entered new territory, where the organisers intend to use Armistice Day this Saturday to show how strong they are, compared to the state. And likened it to the marches we've seen on both sides in Northern Ireland. It's not a cry for help for the people of Gaza, she writes, but a show of strength, a message to the UK. That article, it transpires, was not cleared first by Number 10, leading me to believe that Braverman is out on post-general election losing Tory leadership manoeuvres. And the PM, Rishi Sunak, summoned the Met Police Commissioner to Number 10 to give him a dressing down about not stopping the protest marches this Saturday. And in the end having to concede that if the Met Commissioner says the march proceeds, then it does, because we have an independent police force. But also remember that it is the London Mayor, Sadiq Khan, who does the hiring and firing here as the de facto Met Police and Crime Commissioner. But while that squabbling goes on, the Labour leader Keir Starmer and his shadow Home Secretary Yvette Cooper have a go at Braverman for destabilising the position of the police, and also at Rishi for calling the Met Commissioner into his office, and Braverman for writing an uncleared public article. But here's what Yvette Cooper said in March 2021 about the lockdown-breaking Sarah Everard vigil on what was then Twitter. Just awful scenes from Clapham Common tonight. Simply cannot understand how this has been handled and the policing decisions that were made, or why the strength of feeling about violence against women is not being understood. So I'm not sure that Yvette Cooper will be 100% behind the police either. Anyway, it doesn't matter what they say or squabble about on all of this, while they both keep our borders wide open. Neither Labour, the Tories, nor the Lib Dems have any other intention where our borders are concerned other than to keep the door wide open, the welcome mat out and the benefits flowing. And it's no good bleating that it would be different if we'd stayed in the EU. Just look at what EU countries are going through with the results of this open door policy. And although experiencing over 600,000 in inward net migration last year, we still have too few workers and too many on the economically inactive list. But I do have to wonder, however, how many are active in the underground economy, which the police can't touch because there A, aren't enough of them to police that and social media, B, it would be racist to investigate and conduct some raids, and C, there are no prisons left to dispatch wrongdoers to anyway. That's if our woke judges were minded to send them there anyway. There used to be a legal mantra that ignorance of the law is no defence, even if it was your first day in the country. That no longer applies. We have a two-tier legal system where ordinary natural Brits get the punishment from both ends. And all the while our political classes, that's MPs, the peers in the House of Lords and the civil service, walk around the room closely inspecting the skirting boards for flaws, while studiously ignoring the huge tusked animal waving its trunk wildly in the middle of the carpet. Obviously they worry about being elephantist. All those people we entrusted the running of the country to have comprehensively failed us. And it's not like they just sat back and let it happen. No, this was a conscious decision quietly made between them 3 or 4 decades ago. And they've been hard at work ever since, making sure it happens. You only have to remember how keen Tony Blair and his mob were to rub our noses in diversity. And back in 2010, after Gillian Duffy challenged him on the issue of people coming in from overseas and qualifying for benefits that those born here couldn't get, Gordon Brown was caught on a hot mic calling her a bigoted woman. That is exactly how the vast majority of our politicians view politics, as a machine that allows them to virtue signal on the world stage, using the tax money of hard-pressed Brit workers to pay for it all. And it's turned from a minor interest into a cottage industry and has now developed into a massive corporate machine. Ending now with so many people and their useful idiots actively working at destroying our heritage and way of life in order to feed that machine. To the point that they will cancel or change the names of our own religious festivals and turn down peaceful vigils while allowing, nay supporting, belligerent protests to thrive. And all the while they keep harping on about the threat of the hard right, full knowing that it is a negligible threat. Remember, the police have in the past used every tactic in the book to prevent certain marches and protests. But where these current protests are concerned, they say they can do nothing. Even though anti-Semitism oozes from every pore of these protesters. And now we have the approximately 300,000 Jewish population in the UK afraid of the nearly 4 million Muslims we have living here. Do not tell me that that is healthy. And recent events illustrate why Jews now feel that living under the threat of violence in Israel would be preferable to living in the UK. And it's not healthy being a poppy seller in certain quarters either, is it? Our political classes should think very long and hard on all of that, and then ponder on the statement that some Hamas supporters have been using of first the Saturday people, then the Sunday people, and work out what that actually means. But our establishment uniparty classes will still be studying the skirting board for marks on the paintwork, while the elephant that our politicians let into the room busies itself taking a bloody great dump on us. And then our political classes gaslight us and say that it's our fault. And I fear that if our politicians continue to play their little games on the sidelines, then the population of not just the UK, but of Europe too, will have to do the job for themselves. But in the meantime, we've still got a few red to blue to red to blue election cycles to go through to ensure it gets really untenable first.